What's going on, NBA fans? Welcome back to another episode of NBA Central. Today, you got me, Bobby. Y'all already know. Got to talk about it. I believe Joel Embiid sitting out yesterday's game versus the Denver Nuggets hurt his case for MVP. Y'all already know. I'm going to talk about it. Plus more right after this.
Thank you for tuning in to the number one place for your basketball fix, NBA Central, hosted by the Cognac Boys.
All right, y'all. If y'all like what y'all listening to today, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. But look, I'm just going to go ahead and preface it right quick. I believe last night's game with Joel Embiid sitting out against the Denver Nuggets in a matchup that was crucial and big to the MVP race, it hurt Joel Embiid's case for the MVP. It does not completely take it out of him. I believe he was the for sure front runner before last night's game. But then my guy came, he sat down, and I believe that Joker, with the performance that he did yesterday, kind of closed the gap a little bit to where now the race is neck and neck. I believe it's going to go down towards the end of the season on what these guys do. And compared, I believe, in the last few games and before the playoffs hit. But I still think that it's a big thing that Joel Embiid sat out of last night's game versus the Denver Nuggets and versus Joker. You know what I'm saying? A guy that's right there with him when it comes to that MVP. He still has a big case, though. That's Joel Embiid. He is the NBA's leading scorer with 33 points and giving you 10 rebounds. You know what I'm saying? And he brings it on both ends of the floor. But we already know how the MVP race goes. They like to go off narrative. We got Joker neck and neck with him for the MVP. Someone who at one point was averaging a triple-double and could potentially have 3 MVPs in a row. That's a narrative. That's a storyline. That will be the first time, if Joker does win it, that will be the first time a player won 3 MVPs in a row since Larry Bird. Players like LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, Shaq, and even MJ have never done that. So that's the narrative that's going in. And we know that back then, the narrative that, just a few years prior, you had Russell Westbrook, first person to average a triple-double since Oscar Robertson. Then they gave a unanimous MVP to Steph Curry, you know what I'm saying? And he led his team to a 73-9 record and things like that. So the storyline matters. The storyline matters. And, a lot of people, they love to try to draw towards that a lot. And I feel like last night's game, if Joel Embiid comes in and handle business and gets the W and put in the work and go ahead and give Nikola Jokic a fried hard dinner, you know what I'm saying? 30-piece fried hard with lemon pepper on and a little lemonade on the side with light ice. The argument goes more into Joel Embiid favors. But he didn't play. So now we already got people, in me personally. And then you got other people, Kendrick Perkins, saying that Joel Embiid ducking the smoke. And I know I'm not the only one that feel that way because it kind of seemed like he was ducking the smoke. But this is how, in my opinion, Joel Embiid hurt his case. It's not completely over. I'm going to preface that and say that the MVP race is not over. But I believe sitting out last night's game hurt Joel Embiid's case. I know that everything goes down to what he does in the playoffs, but that award is given during the regular season, and we know that some games mean more than others. And last night, it was a game that meant more than others. So this is how I believe Joel Embiid hurt his case. He was set to match up against Joker, but he sat out. Don't know who decision it was. Don't know if it was his decision. Doc Rivers went to the podium, make it sound like it was the organization's decision. Cool, fine, dandy. But I know when you got superstars, you can easily say, Coach, I'm playing. You can definitely say that. You know what I'm saying? And taking that into account, Joel Embiid had an opportunity to play, in my opinion. The 76ers had a back-to-back. They had the Bulls, and then they had the Phoenix Suns, I believe. But they definitely had a back-to-back, and that was a game he could have sat out of. That the latter of the back-to-back, he could have sat out of. We know what this game last night meant for his case in MVP. He definitely, I believe that they sat him out for a precautionary measure. So why not sit him out at the latter end of a back-to-back to make sure that he's fresh to make sure that he's good to go and be able to produce and help you get some games that are very impactful that you desperately need. You know what I'm saying? Because those guys are still trying to make their case in the Eastern Conference standing going into the playoffs. So you need him in more meaningful games. And me as a competitor, I want to play the top teams. And I'm pretty sure Joel Embiid feels the same exact way. He should be wanting to play one of the top teams. And the top team in the Western Conference is the Denver Nuggets. That's the game you show up for. That's the game you show up for. And you can't say you didn't know that they weren't going to be on the schedule. Everybody knows who the hell you're going to play against and where you're going before it happens. Come on now. Now, another thing that hurts Joel Embiid case is this interview with The Athletic. He said a bunch of stuff. He talking about the criteria changing. He talking about some guys saying that they doing this and voters going with the analytics. Rightfully so, and that's fine. I believe he should stick with that. But you don't come out and say, I don't care. I don't care. I don't believe he should come out and say things in that way simply because some people are too literal when it comes to these votes. Like some people be like, well, he said he doesn't, you know what I'm saying? He said this, that, and the third. But what they're going to do is just highlight that one part to where you say you don't care, bro. So why would they continuously give it to you when the other guy on the other end, Joker, is saying that he wants it and he cares? He's telling y'all that he wants to win and things like that. But he's not saying that he doesn't care about the MVP. So that's something, you know what I'm saying? He was right for saying that it's something every year and that the criteria is always changing. But I don't believe you come out in an interview right before a game that you don't play that's a meaningful game. I don't think that lines up. That just adds more fuel to the fire on why you shouldn't get that MVP. Because it was yesterday the game, I believe the day before was the article to where he was like, I don't care. Okay, so now you don't care. And then in the matchup that's everyone's going to have their eyes on, you don't show up to play. Okay, cool. We're going to remember that as the voters. That's my train of thought. Then you got your coach. Another reason, now you got your coach saying that they want to go slow and be smart. In my mind, it seemed like a cop-out. It seemed like a cop-out. You said calf soreness. Cool, I understand that. I'm not saying that he was faking injuries. I never go that route. But when you say you want to go slow with this thing, you want to be smart, you want to make sure all the players are healthy going into the playoffs, kind of seems like a cop-out for me. That's just me, though. Seems like a cop-out in a way because, bro, as mentioned before, you just had that back-to-back, the latter half of that back-to-back to where you could have sat out, rest that calf, and things like that. That's just me, though. And then other things to consider is when Derrick Rose won his MVP. A lot of people will still argue to this day that LeBron James had that MVP in the bag. But what did Derrick Rose do? He went on his own media tour telling people the famous quote, why can't I be MVP? Why I can't be the youngest MVP to ever play in this league? Why? And he went on his stuff. So Joel Embiid, you need to go on your media tour to put your statements, your comments, how you feeling about, man, I deserve this. Because your teammate knows where you are right now. You arguably, Joel Embiid should have won the MVP last year. We can all argue that. We all can argue that. James Harden was in that same situation. He was in the MVP conversation 3 years in a row. He finally won it that last year. The first season, he was in a conversation. Golden State went 73-9. Then the year after that, Russell Westbrook averages a triple-double. And then James Harden finally got it after going to the media and telling them, I don't know what the criteria is, but I am the MVP. That's some of the things that he was saying. He was putting it out there, and he had teammates and other players politicking for him. So you need to go ahead and get your players in there, get your teammates involved, and help you make the case. It definitely, if you go out there, you got to tell them that I understand remaining humble, being cool, calm, and collective. But you can't tell me if you out here busting your butt every single night that you are on the floor that you don't believe that you should be MVP, especially when you're performing at this high of a level to where you're virtually unstoppable, bro, offensively. Nobody can stop you. Now, it was good that James Harden came out a few nights ago and said, that's why he's our league MVP. Tell them to keep it up. Keep it up. Tell them to keep it up. Apply the pressure to the voters and show up in meaningful games. It's not completely over. I want to make that very, very clear before somebody jump in the comments and act like they ain't hear nothing that I said. The race is not over. But him sitting out last night, plus the article that came out saying he does not care if he don't win, pretty much, that hurts his case, in my opinion. If you agree with it, let me know. If you disagree with it, let me know as well. We're going to be talking in the comments below, so go ahead and let me know. Now, if you like what you heard today, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. If you want to follow everybody here collectively, send us something at Gmail, at NBA Central Show at gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter at NBA Central Pod. And then you already know, if you want to respond to this take on Joel Embiid or any other take, or just got a hot take that we should really consider, go ahead and send that in at a voicemail or a text message at 773-270-2799. It's another episode of NBA Central. I'm Bobby. I'm out.
Thank you for tuning in to the #1 place for your basketball fix, NBA Central, hosted by the Cognac Boys.